Anoka County Housing and Redevelopment Authority meeting for August 25th. And the clerk will note the roll that all trustees are present and accounted for. I have no chair's remark for you today. We'll move on to item 4, and we'll look for approval of the minutes from the July 28th HRA board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Minutes are adopted. Next, we'll consider approving amendments to the lease agreement for the tenants at the Blaine Human Services Center, deferring the scheduled lease rental rate increase to January 1st of 2020. Currently, it's set to go into effect in July of 2020. We are suggesting we postpone that 50-cent per square foot increase to January 1st of 2022 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner West. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, that's done. Next, we'll move to item 6, consider executing a cooperative funding agreement with the Fair Housing Implementation Council. Fair housing planning and implementation are required for any community that receives federal community development block grants, CDBG funding. Karen, item 6.
Mr. Chair, trustees, this agreement comes before you every 5 years. We work together. Large document that addresses what we as local units of government can do to help promote fair housing. This year we're just wrapping up our draft plan for the next 5 years, and you'll see that later in the agenda. But what we have to do is figure out how we pay for this agreement, or this big document to be done every year or every 5 years, and how we can fund activities that help promote fair housing. We do it by a population-based formula split up between not just the metro counties, but some of the independent cities, the Met Council. We've had many different organizations all contributing money to get this document done and then help us execute it throughout the 5 years. So this is the agreement for the next 5 years.
Is there a motion to approve the agreement?
So moved.
Motion by trustee Meisner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Reinert. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? That item passes. We have 2 informational items for you. Both are about a public hearing on September 22nd. One is to review and gather feedback on the Twin Cities draft regional analysis of impediments to fair housing choice. And the second one is to hear public comments on the performance in meeting the housing, community, and economic development needs as outlined in the Anoka County portion of the 2019 Dakota County Consortium Consolidated Plan and the action plan. Those are your 2 informational items, so we will have those hearings on September 22nd. And I think we have one other item that we want to talk about. Commissioner Look has expressed some concern or some question as to some funding that we have dispersed in the last few years. So I'll turn to Commissioner Look now and give him an opportunity to exercise that right to be concerned.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, we've granted some dollars, I understand, in the past to an agency, and essentially what I'm looking for is an accounting of those dollars that they are consistent with our policies. As I understand it, the City of Ramsey, not involved in this, but the City of Ramsey has asked in the past for staff salaries rather, to be paid from HRA dollars, and we've flat out denied it. That we'll pay for projects. I know one of the projects we paid for in the past was a CNC machine for the tech college up here, such that kids can be trained on particular CNCs that are current and then be able to apply for jobs later on. That makes sense to me. But as I understand it, there was somewhat of a strategy put together. There were dollars that were asked for, and those dollars essentially became a salary for an individual. And I know personally, having been here for the whole time as a HRA trustee, that we were not privy to how those dollars were going to be spent prior to being asked for them, or who they were going to be going to. And as I've become aware of this, as a matter of fact, I think that when we understood how these dollars were ultimately being spent in this last go-around, we said this is the last time, we're not doing this anymore. So we in fact took a very strong position that this is not how we spend these dollars, this is not the intent of these dollars, and furthermore, as a board, we were not informed of how the dollars were going to be spent. So without using names, because I certainly don't want to incriminate anyone or any organization at this point, I would request that we, I don't know if you want to call it an investigation or how you want to look into it, but that we, as trustees of the HRA dollars, these are dollars from the entire county, mind you, that we ensure that they're spent appropriately and not as part of an idea in someone's mind that maybe shouldn't have happened, is maybe the way I'll put it. So
what we're looking for, I think, is just an accounting, kind of a forensic accounting of where the dollars went, what they were spent on, and make sure that they were spent on what we thought they were being spent on and not something different. Trustee Meisner.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, no, I'm just a little bit confused. So your example was just an example, but that of the city of Ramsey, you're not actually saying the city of Ramsey needs to be investigated, I don't think. But I'm going to back up. So you're saying our dollars are meant for capital, not operations, but then we're investigating all of the money of the HRA? Is that?
Trustee Meisner, no, it's a policy, not a law, that we spend our money, our HRA dollars in communities on projects, not on staff
Not
operations
Yep.
or wages. That's our policy. We disseminated money to a specific organization for a specific project, and there's a thought that maybe it wasn't used for a project, it was used for a salary. So simply just looking for that specific amount of money for that specific project to be investigated. We'll work with the director behind the scenes to make sure she knows what project it is, and we'll get a forensic accounting of where the money went, what it was used for, make sure that it was above board and that every trustee understands what it was used for.
So offline, can I know what that project is, though?
Certainly.
Okay, we're just not talking about it.
But we don't want
Right now.
to, as Commissioner
Okay.
Look stated, we don't want to incriminate or impugn anybody publicly when we haven't done an investigation. It may
Okay.
be 100% above board. There may be no problem with this at all. We just want to know. And this is how we find out. It's our fiduciary duty as trustees of the HRA to make sure we account for dollars that we expend.
Right.
I commend Commissioner Look for Trustee Look for bringing this forward.
Yeah, which I agree with. I mean, we're responsible for it, so, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else to come before the HRA? Trustee Gamache.
Just a quick question. So in the investigation, I wrote down, and I guess I'm not exactly sure who does the investigation? Just
This would be not an investigation per se. I think it's going to be just forensic accounting.
Okay.
All we need is just accountability as to where that money went. We know who received the money up front because they put in an application for it. All we want to know is just where exactly it got spent so we can see if it meets our policy.
Okay.
If it meets our policy, fabulous. If it doesn't meet our policy, then we have to find out if we told who we gave it to what the policy was.
Okay.
Maybe we didn't even do that. So this may be on us, it may be on them. We won't know this until we just look into it a little further, just for an accounting of where the dollars went.
Okay.
I think using the word investigation is a little too harsh at this
Okay.
point, from my perspective.
Okay.
Trustee Reinert, then Trustee Look, then Trustee Meisner.
Everybody wants to talk on this. So, I guess just so that the report back to us after the, review, maybe a softer word, is complete, that, we understand with the, what the intent was of the dollars when it went one way, and then, then we'll get a report on what the actual use was. That should make it clear.
Correct. Trustee Look.
no,
Sorry.
that's good.
Trustee Meisner.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chair. So if after the review, if it's found that it went against the policy, then do we ask for the money back? Or I don't understand, like, what?
Well, that's where the next step is involved, because we won't know until then if we gave direction to the grantee, you have to use it for this. I mean, we know what we thought it was being used for, but did we give them clear direction in writing what it was supposed to be used for?
Okay.
And did they deviate from that? Maybe we weren't clear enough, maybe it's our fault. We just need to do a forensic accounting before we know what our next step is. And I think Karen probably knows all the answers already. I'm just gonna ask her to withhold that for now. We don't need to do this live. We can actually talk and understand where we're at and where we're going, and we'll come back more prepared at the next meeting to deal with this directly. Anything else to come before the HRA?
Just a quick
Trustee
question. Karen, do we provide our grantees with information as to how they can use use dollars that we give them?
Mr. Chair, trustee, when someone approaches us with a project concept, the first thing I do is take a look at state statute to make sure it's something that we can fund. Then we come to board and seek approval of it. Usually we have some sort of a document outlining what the funds will be used for that you actually have in front of you to approve. So yes, we will have a document that was submitted to us. I believe that about a year ago, we sat down with them and talked through a few more additional things. I think we have notes from that meeting. So I'll prepare all of that for you and give you a written report.
Thank you, Trustee Look. Thank you, Karen. If there's nothing else to come before the HRA, we are adjourned. Thank you all.
But all of us will get that report, right? Or, I mean, right?
Everybody but
Okay.
you.